As the NFL approaches the halfway mark of the season, we start to see our playoff contenders and playoff pretenders. But what if everybody was a contender? That includes the Panthers, the Patriots, and even the Green Bay retirement community up in New York. All 32 NFL teams will make this March Madness inspired bracket, but we must finish the regular season out before we determine the seedings. So here I am picking up right at the end of week 7 at the current day of recording. If the season was to end today, the Detroit Lions would be the number 1 seed in the NFC, whereas the Kansas City Chiefs would be the number 1 seed in the AFC. The New York Giants are currently the 16th seed in the NFC, and ranked 16 in the AFC, the New England Patriots. Let's jump up to week 10 where the Green Bay Packers have taken control of the number 1 seed, and apparently the Vikings are choking away their 5-0 start. They just lost 4 games straight. We have movement at the number 1 position in the AFC as well, as the Baltimore Ravens are taking over. Jumping up to week 15, the Detroit Lions take back the number 1 seed in the NFC, but the Green Bay Packers are keeping it close. They're both 11-3. The Kansas City Chiefs have already clinched a home game in round number 1 at 11-3 right now. Likewise for the Ravens, so it looks like the number 1 seed for both conferences might come down to the wire. And I don't know how this happened. Madden is disrespecting the hell out of the Bears. They just lost 8 straight games. So here's where we stand going into week 18. The Lions at 12-4, but the Packers are also at 12-4. The Lions currently hold the tiebreaker, so if they win in week 18, they clinch the 1 seed. The Ravens still hold the 1 seed in the AFC at 12-4, and as long as they win, that's going to stay the same because the Chiefs are in second at 11-5. The Green Bay Packers are having some trouble with the 4-12 Chicago Bears. They're going for 2. Jordan Love back in the end zone, out of bounds, 8-point difference. Will Caleb Williams and the Bears be able to get a couple first downs? It's going to be 3rd and 8. For a chance of Jordan Love to get the football back, passing is Caleb Williams, in some trouble with Rashawn Gary, and he can't get it off. Preston Smith with a sack. 4th and 20, timeout called. Will the Packers be able to put 8 on the board? Jordan Love, completion to the 27. That goes to Jaden Reed. Jordan Love again, another first down. This time it's Romeo Doubs. Gets him to the 7-yard line. We're going to pitch it to Josh Jacobs. He gets some blocks, heading to the outside. Touchdown. Now they need to go for 2. Can the Bears make another stop? Love in some trouble, and he throws it out. What is he trying to accomplish? This might be one of the worst plays I have ever seen in Madden history. At least go towards the end zone. So the Bears come up with a clutch week 18 win, which knocks the Packers out from getting the number 1 seed. Well, it wouldn't have mattered anyways because the Lions have got a week 18 win, clinching the number 1 seed in the NFC. And it looks like the Ravens were able to hold on to the number 1 seed in the AFC. So let's talk about some more surprises. The Buccaneers stole away the number 2 seed in the NFC. The Minnesota Vikings, who are 5-1 in real life right now, finished 9-8. What a collapse. But no collapse as bad as this one. This is Roman Empire collapse level. 5-12 record for the Bears. They're 4-2 in real life right now. That means they finished 1-10. As for the AFC, the Bengals have locked in. They finished with 11-6 record. And to my surprise, the Vegas Raiders are going to be hosting a home game in round 1. Okay. So that concludes the regular season, which means we're ready to fill out the bracket and all the seedings. But to make this more user-friendly, I'm going to break this up into quadrants. Let's start at the top of the AFC with quadrant 1. We already know who the number 1 seed is. It's the Baltimore Ravens. But who will they be playing at the 16th seed? The very worst team in the AFC is the Jacksonville Jaguars. The 8 versus 9. This is interesting. Surprisingly, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets will be getting a home game, even though this team is awful in real life. Who will they be matched up against in the 9 seed? It's going to be Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. Now, this next matchup's interesting. The 5 versus 12. The 5 is going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the 12 seed is going to be the AFC North matchup with the Cleveland Browns. Keep in mind, no Deshaun Watson, considering he's done for the year with an Achilles injury. And then here's our 4 versus 13. The 4 seed, another AFC North team, the Cincinnati Bengals. But we break the trend at 13. This is going to be the Tennessee Titans. Now here's the remaining of the AFC bracket in quadrant 2. The 6 versus 11. A very interesting matchup. The 6, surprisingly, the Buffalo Bills. But the 11 seed, a team that's actually been pretty solid with a rookie quarterback leading the command, the Denver Broncos. That's going to be a tough matchup for both teams. But speaking of tough matchup, our 3 versus 14. The 3 is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. But who will they be playing? The Miami Dolphins. And keep in mind, Tua is returning from injury, which means he'll be playing in this game against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The 7 versus 10, the AFC, this is probably the weakest matchup. The 7 is going to be the Vegas Raiders. Somehow they got a home game like I was saying. Who will they be playing? The Indianapolis Colts, who got the 10 seed. And then our final matchup in the AFC, the 2 versus 15, the Houston Texans come up with a 2 seed as the New England Patriots come up with a 15. Now let's jump over to the other side of the bracket for the NFC. Starting in their first quadrant, the 1 versus 16, we know the Detroit Lions escaped with the number 1 seed. Who got the 16? It makes sense. It was the Carolina Panthers. The 8 versus 9. The Dallas Cowboys will get a home game here in the first round at the 8 seed. Who would they be playing? A tough matchup if you ask me, because the Washington Commanders fell down to the 9 seed, and they will travel to Dallas to take over the Cowboys. The 5 versus 12, the 5 seed will be the Philadelphia Eagles. They'll be hosting the 12 seed, the Los Angeles Rams. And then the 4 versus 13, interesting matchup because this just happened this past week, and the 13 seed actually ended up winning this game. The 4 seed's the Atlanta Falcons, the 13, the Seattle Seahawks. Now here's the second quadrant in the NFC, the 6 versus 11. This is probably the weakest NFC matchup. The Arizona Cardinals surprisingly got the 6 seed, as the New York Giants will get the 11. Another weak matchup at the 3 and 14, probably because this might be a blowout. The 3 seed, the Green Bay Packers, as the 14 seed is the New Orleans Saints. Now this next matchup I'm really interested in, the 7 versus 10. The San Francisco 49ers will get a home game, the 7 seed, but who are they playing at the 10 seed? The Minnesota Vikings, who beat them in the regular season already. And then another interesting matchup, the 2 versus 15. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers finished off with a 2 seed, but the Chicago Bears, a pretty tough 15 seed if you ask me. They're going to be playing the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. Quadrants together, this is what you get. The entire 32-team bracket where one team will come out on top. Before we start with our matchups, to make this more interesting, there is going to be player steals. So for example, the Ravens beat the Jaguars first round. They're going to steal their best player, and this will keep on continuing on until we get to our final game. That being said, let's go ahead and kick off with that said game. The Ravens and Jaguars in the top of the AFC. So could the number 1 seeded Ravens be in a little trouble here? On a shallow cross, first down for Jacksonville, they just need a touchdown drive. Saving both timeouts, so now down to 50 seconds where they will get the first down on a slant. This is going to put them to the 46. No, 4th and inches. Even worse, Jacksonville refuses to call a timeout, draining the clock to 23 seconds. At least they got the first down, finally calling a timeout, which means they need 38 yards in 20 seconds, and Lawrence is going to get around 20 of them right here with 15 seconds remaining. Do they call their final timeout? So 13 seconds remaining from the 15-yard line. Gabe Davis with a catch, faking the ETN. Lawrence to pass, and this is going to be out of bounds at the 1. Can the Jaguars find the end zone with 5 seconds remaining? Lawrence, touchdown Jaguars, extra point would win the game. Ravens need a miracle with zeros on the board. Lamar Jackson throws it towards the left sideline, incomplete. The Jaguars, the 16 seed, will move on. I'll also be keeping track of player stats throughout this entire tournament. Trevor Lawrence was the player of the game with 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And the Ravens player steal will be Derrick Henry. Now let's move to our next matchup, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets versus Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Aaron Rodgers has Devontae Adams, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and they've only managed to score 10 points in this game. I wonder whose fault that is. They have a chance to change that narrative, however, if they can get some points on the board. Here's a shallow cross to Conklin. That's a first down to the 40. They need to find a way to put at least 3 on the board. Rodgers somehow gets a catch here to Allen Lazard to the opponent's 40. They call their second timeout with 58 seconds. Rodgers up the middle, completed in the seam to Conklin to the 11-yard line. All of a sudden, 6 is a possibility, and I know Rodgers wants to find the end zone here unless he takes a sack. Well, you can thank Khalil Mack for this game not ending here. We have overtime. Aaron Rodgers used psychedelic black magic to start with the football first in overtime, and it's not paying off. What pass was that? So now it makes it a 2nd down and 10, where this time Rodgers throws another horrible pass. Obviously, in Rodgers' head, it doesn't matter to him because those were definitely the receiver's fault, but this time he connects to Garrett Wilson, dead to the 50. Maybe this time they'll capitalize by finding the way to the end zone. Rodgers looking that way, cannot get out of the pocket, takes a sack. Will the Chargers force the Jets to a field goal? Rodgers overthrows an open Breece Hall. So the Jets will settle for 3, meaning the Chargers have to answer back with 3 or 6 to win. 3rd and inches at the 12, towards the end zone, incompletion. So will the Chargers settle for a field goal? Wow, okay. Aaron Rodgers is going to have a chance to win this game. Chargers settle for 3, tied at 16. What is Aaron Rodgers doing? Is his brain that fried? 4th and 10, we're going for it. You understand, if you don't pick this up, you're giving it right back to the Chargers. He's throwing it deep. What are we doing? Oh my goodness, it was caught. 1st down and 10. Oh, it's a turnover on downs. Well, now into double overtime where the Chargers, all they need is about 10 more yards to get in range. That's going to be close. Aaron Rodgers still has a chance to get the ball back for a 4th time if maybe the defense can come up with a clutch stop. 3rd and 8, they hand it off, and J.K. Dobbins goes right up the middle. This game is over. So to finally put it into this game, this one took forever. The Chargers are moving on to the 2nd round, winning 19-16 on this field goal kick. Second player of the game for the LA Chargers is Khalil Mack, who finished with 5 tackles, one of them for a loss, and 3 sacks. So in the past 10 days, Devontae Adams has went from Vegas to New York to Los Angeles. Is he touring with Travis Scott or something? But now means we can move on to our next matchup, the 5 versus 12, the Steelers and Browns. Famous Jameis is at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns on a 3rd down and 10. Completes it to David Njoku, who's going to run his way to the end zone. Browns tie it at 16. However, we're giving the ball back to Russell Wilson with 2 minutes and 3 timeouts, down by 1. Let Russ cook, we all say in unison. 3rd down and 3, completion, dead to the 48-yard 40-yard line. 20 more yards for probably a Chris Boswell game-winning kick. That's going to be a first down to the 41. Cleveland could get the ball back if they stop a third down stop here with Najee Harris, but he gets the outside, and he's probably going to find his way to the 5. Funny enough, Cleveland could get the football back if they could force a stop. Never mind. Well, the Steelers will punch their way to the Sweet 16, winning 24-17. Player of the game, I'm giving to Alex Highsmith with 5 tackles, 3 for a loss, and 2 sacks, which now means TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith himself, and Myles Garrett are teaming up on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And now the Steelers will await the winner in the Sweet 16 between the Bengals and Titans. Well, Will Levis and the Titans took the day off. The Bengals will move on to the Sweet 16, winning 28-7. Joe Burrow gets player of the game with 168 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, which will send L'Jarius Sneed over to Cincinnati. So 4 matchups down in the first quadrant AFC. The Jaguars are playing the Chargers. Interesting. And then we're going to have the AFC North rival matchup of the Steelers and Bengals. Now let's move on down to the second quadrant AFC with our first game, the Bills versus the Broncos. So yet again, we have overtime. Bo Nix tied at 20 with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and this is going to be a first down to the 42. This is also first possession, so Josh Allen would actually get a possession in overtime. Believe it or not, another first down for Bo Nix and the Broncos. From the 46, staying in the flat. If it works, it works. This is going to be another first down and breaking a tackle to the 26. Will the Bills defense force a stop? They're going to pass the football on 3rd down and 1. It pays off. 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. And they're going to punch this one in with Javonte Williams. He's in for 6. Josh Allen has to answer back. In need of a 78-yard touchdown drive for Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. That's right, 20 of them right there to Amari Cooper, the new addition to Buffalo. Now it's 2nd down and 10, faking the handoff to James Cook, getting it off quick. This is another catch by Amari Cooper. No, he drops it last second. Everything is 4th down territory, including this 3rd down and 10 and what comes after, but Josh Allen throws an interception, and the Broncos, the 11 seed, will take out a dub here in Buffalo. And it's funny because the one thing Josh Allen has yet to do in person is throw an interception, yet Madden is still disrespecting him in his old ways. And I'm going to give player of the game to the man who put it into this himself with that interception. It was actually his 2nd of the game alongside 3 tackles. Well, just like Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper is also touring the country, a new team in like 3 days. And now we're getting to a pretty interesting matchup with the Chiefs and Dolphins. Could we see another upset? You see, this is what I was kind of talking about. Tua Tagovailoa is back in the lineup for the Dolphins. He has a completion the most stare, 1st down to the 47. I like to imagine if you were to ask him what 2 + 2 is right now, he probably couldn't answer you, but all that matters is that he's playing a game of football again. Here's a play action pass, which he's going to sling it down the field. Open receiver, Jalen Waddle strikes into the end zone. Now that's exactly what the Dolphins have been missing, but Patrick Mahomes gets the football back. I am recording this right after the Chiefs got DeAndre Hopkins, so yes, he is in the lineup. This is a catch for 5 yards. He's number 88 lined up in trips right now. This is going to go to Travis Kelce, past midfield, and some more yards after catch. Almost breaks free of all. No timeouts called, down to 30 seconds. Mahomes, this is down at the 1 to Hopkins. I don't know if Miami will get the football back. Hand off to Kareem Hunt, and he's going to be stopped short. 3rd and goal. Can the Dolphins stuff him here? Hand off Kareem Hunt. He is stopped short again. What a goal line stand by the Miami Dolphins to force overtime here in Kansas City. Can the Dolphins force a stop? It's going to be hand off to Kareem Hunt, and 4th and inches. And Kansas City will punt. The Dolphins will get it back. Next point wins. Tua's going to start with a pass on 2nd down and 10. Floats it up. 1st down. Miami's getting close to field goal range. They can win with any points, and this is going to be even closer. Jalen Waddle 1st down. So the Dolphins are about to kick a game-winning kick to take down the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe the Dolphins were the 14 seed. So yet another upset in the AFC, but to be fair, I saw this one coming. Somebody needs to let Tua know that they won this game. He also won player of the game with 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And of course, joining the Miami Dolphins will be Travis Kelce. And now this leaves us with 2 more matchups in the AFC. We'll go to our 7 versus 10, Raiders versus Colts. Yeah, I'm still at a loss of words of how the Raiders got a home game in this bracket, but they need to stop the Colts from getting a 1st down, but they can't do that. 1st down to the 42 to Downs. I guess they're not dead yet. There's still a 2-minute warning to come. What a play. Oh, I thought it was an incompletion. It was actually caught by Michael Pittman. Well, 2 great consecutive 1st downs for the Colts, and they can finally ice the game with 1 more probably. Anthony Richardson again. Timeouts are starting to be called by Vegas. The Colts will tackle on a field goal, winning 7-10. I guess you could call this an upset. Anthony Richardson will take care of player of the game with 236 total yards to the ground in the air and 2 total touchdowns. And as a result, Indianapolis will claim Max Crosby. And our final round 1 matchup in the AFC, the Texans versus the New England Patriots. Well, this would be a Drake May legacy drive. He can go 93 yards with no timeouts. Instead, he's just going to take a sack. 4th down and 2. Can they at least get a conversion here? That would be good enough. And it was close, but incomplete. Texans will win this game. And that'll wrap up our final game on the AFC side in the 1st round. And player of the game will go to Henry To'oTo'o with 7 total tackles, 1 for a loss, and 2 interceptions. And the Texans will get to take Christian Gonzalez up to the Sweet 16. So that concludes Quad 2, the Broncos and Dolphins, and Colts and Texans will be moving on to the next round. With a quick full look of the 8 AFC teams which will be moving on to the Sweet 16, but now we can move over to the NFC, where we will start our campaign with the Lions versus Panthers. Hopefully the number 1 seed wins this time. I mean, what is happening? There is no reason the number 1 seed should be going to overtime with the Carolina Panthers. I mean, that's more like it. Jared Goff going to take a long shot. This is going to be inside the 10-yard line. Field goal wins the game. Lions going for a field goal in overtime. I do believe this is a second possession of the game, so this should win the game here with Jake Bates, who has been automatic so far in real life. Automatic here. Lions barely escape from the 16 seed. Sure enough, final score 17-14. Jared Goff will get player of the game with 314 yards and a pair of touchdowns. And yeah, it's game over. This is exactly what the Lions needed. 84 overall, J.C. Horn, their savior. But now this next matchup is much more interesting. The 8 seed Cowboys playing the 9 seed Commanders. Well, Jaden Daniels did his job. Now it's time for the defense to step up, as the Cowboys could take the lead with a touchdown and extra point with 1 minute and 20 seconds, but time is ticking. Just like that, we're down to 1 minute remaining with 2 timeouts on the board. Dak Prescott attacks the middle of the field, but throws an interception. The Washington Commanders take possession back. Only took me 2 plays to find a conclusion in this game. The Commanders, another 9 seed, are moving on to the Sweet 16. Not really good options for player of the game. We'll give the Deron Payne with 5 total tackles and 1.5 sacks. I want to see this Commanders offense to be even more explosive, so I'm going to give him CeeDee Lamb instead of Micah Parsons. Next up will be the 5 seed Eagles and 12 seed Rams. I do think Cooper Kupp is back from injury, so do the Rams have an upset chance? So I guess the Rams do have a chance. Another overtime game. The Rams closing in on a touchdown on the first possession. Empty formation for Matthew Stafford. Blitz coming. I don't know why it's a design quarterback sneak. 3rd and goal. Or design quarterback run is what I should have said, because now 3rd down and goal could stop them. But Tutu Outwell finds the end zone. Jalen Hurts to pass, of course. 4th down territory everywhere. Completion made to Devontae Smith. Eagles are getting close to answering back with a touchdown of their own. Jalen Hurts stays in the middle of the Saquon Barkley. 1st down inside the 15. Now the 11-yard line with 10 seconds remaining, and this is going to be floated out of bounds for 3rd and 10. Once again, 4th down territory. Saquon Barkley takes the fake back of the end zone, overthrows again. It's 4th and 10. This is essentially a game if they can't find the end zone, because the 1st down's at the 1-yard line. Jalen Hurts steps into it, almost throws an interception, but either way, the game is over. The Rams pull off the upset, winning 24-17. And I'll give player of the game to Cooper Kupp, who finished with 111 yards, 1 touchdown, and 7 receptions in his first game back. And I didn't want to replace Kyron Williams at running back, so AJ Brown's the new wide receiver number 1 in LA. And so next up will be the 4 seed Falcons and 13 seed Seahawks. Well, the Seahawks got the better of the Falcons in real life. They're getting the better of them right now. They're winning 17-13. Kirk Cousins just throws this to the stands. But now facing a 3rd down and 4 from their own 26-yard line, Kirk Cousins slings this one for an interception and could be returned for the house for 6 points, which it will. Seattle takes a 23-13 lead. So Seattle will in fact close out this game 24-13, and by seeding, I guess this is another big upset. And I'm going to give player of the game to Trey Brown himself, the man who came up with the interception. He had 2 tackles alongside this pick, and of course, the pick 6, the touchdown. And so the Seattle Seahawks will escape out of Atlanta, taking Jesse Bates with them. So our first quadrant of the NFC is over. We have the Lions versus Commanders and Rams versus Seahawks. And now we'll go to the next quadrant with our 6 versus 11, the Cardinals versus Giants. Well, I guess the new Call of Duty game hasn't come out quite yet, which justifies this performance by Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, in which I'll give player of the game to James Conner, 65 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, also had 5 receptions and 44 receiving yards. And so Dexter Lawrence will join the Arizona Cardinals. And we'll quickly move on to our next game, which I think is going to be another blowout, the Packers versus Saints. And just as expected, the Packers win 31-7. This honestly might be the first team to score 30 points today. I mean, seriously, offense has been hard to come by in this first round, but our player of the game with 3 touchdowns and 190 yards is Jordan Love. So a solid positional upgrade for the Green Bay Packers at middle linebacker, now DeMario Davis. Alright, now that we got past those 2 slugfest of a games, these next 2 should set the tone for the NFC to close it out in the first round. Our first one's a 7 versus 10, the Niners versus the Vikings in Santa Clara. Well, about time we've seen a game where both teams have scored over 20 points. I'm getting tired of games ending 17-14. Under 60 seconds to go for Sam Darnold and the Vikings on a cross. 1st down, much more after the catch, and timeout called to the 44. Only 15 seconds remaining. 3rd down and 2. This is a catch to the 11, and they're going to call their final timeout. No, it's a fumble on the ground and picked up by San Francisco. It's going to booth review. Was he down? I think he was. That is definitely caused by the ground. The Vikings will maintain possession. So they use their final timeout with 11 seconds from the 11-yard line. Sam Darnold probably has 2 more plays in him. What does he do here? Throws it across his body. Aaron Jones is tackled 5 yards short, and they cannot get up and run another play. The San Francisco 49ers will pull it off here in Santa Clara. Player of the game will go to Deebo Samuel, who had a 101-yard touchdown kick return, but he also had 4 catches for 36 yards and another touchdown as well. And so now Justin Jefferson will become a 49er, which is good to replace Brandon Ayuk after tearing his ACL. So one final game in the round of 32. Will it be the Buccaneers or the Chicago Chicago Bears. Well, yet another NFC North quarterback on their heels. The Chicago Bears are down by 5 points. Here's a completion to DJ Moore, first down to the 42. Down to a minute and 8 seconds, a crucial third down needed. Caleb Williams throws an interception late in the fourth quarter, and it's going to be returned by the Buccaneers to around the 24-yard line. Believe it or not, the Bears will get the football back. They just burned all 3 of their timeouts on a 3-and-out for the Buccaneers, and they'll field it at the 27. So take 2. This time with no timeouts to spare, Caleb Williams gets it off, completes it to Cole Kmet. Can he get out of bounds? I don't think so. And because Cole Kmet refused to get out of bounds, look where it led us. 4th down and 10 with zeros on the board, needing a Hail Mary touchdown for Caleb Williams back at the end zone, and it's not going to do it. Our final team to punch the way to the Sweet 16 will be the Buccaneers. Because Baker Mayfield threw multiple picks this game, player of the game is going to Jamel Dean, who sealed the deal with this interception. He also had 5 tackles and 3 pass deflections. And so the Buccaneers will pick up a solid replacement for Chris Godwin, which is Keenan Allen. Well, now we can take a look at the full bracket going into the Sweet 16. 8 remaining in the AFC, 8 remaining in the NFC. We can also take a quick look at the current player of the game accolades. Kind of a random selection of players, but that was my intention with this. That being said, it's time to start the Sweet 16. Hopefully our offenses will ramp up a little bit more going into our first game with the Jaguars and the Chargers. I don't know what's more surprising, the 9 versus 16 being a matchup in the Sweet 16, or both teams actually scoring over 20 points. But speaking of, that 16 seed has a chance to go down and win this game. And out comes Trevor Lawrence and the new addition Derrick Henry. 1 minute and 20 seconds completed to Evan Ingram to the 46. Under 60 seconds, they still have 2 timeouts in their back pocket. Trevor Lawrence, a crazy pass. How did he complete that? To the 32 to Christian Kirk. And because of that, the Jaguars can start running the football as they're in field goal range now. Last chance for the Chargers to have a chance. I don't know why we're running RPO, loss of 1 yard, and now the Jaguars will get the ball back to the Chargers after they kick a field goal. This to make it 27 to 24. The Chargers get the football back with 42 seconds. Did they just get called for holding on the final play of the game? Just decline it. This game's over. Okay. Well, that was so embarrassing. The Jaguars win. Well, Derrick Henry already making his presence felt here in Jacksonville. He had 14 carries for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. Did somebody say 4th team in 10 days? And so yes, a 16th seed is moving on to the Elite 8, but let's continue with the Steelers versus Bengals. This is like the 10th game today. I've seen the score with 17 to 14, but it might change here as Najee Harris brings it to the 2-yard line, 2nd and 1. We'll burn up some clock though. It's going to be pitched backwards to Najee Harris. This is a walk-in touchdown to make it a 20 to 17 game. Under 3 minutes, remember Myles Garrett is lined up with TJ Watt, and here they come. Joe Burrow escapes it. He's going to run for it, and he can't pick up the first down. Steelers defense are doing their job. Can they force Joe Burrow and the Bengals to punt the football? They will not. T. Higgins another catch. Brings us now to the 2-minute warning for rush, and this is intercepted by the Steelers and could be returned for 6. An awful pass by Joe Burrow. What was he looking at? So I have no clue what just happened here, but I guess the Bengals are back in it with this touchdown to Chase Brown. Must have been completely broken coverage, but anyways, the Bengals are going to go for 2 to make it a 3-point difference. Easy. Look at the separation. Jamar Chase makes it 28 to 25. I'm trying to watch a hockey game here, and while that's happening, they recovered an onside kick, which means Joe Burrow is right back in this game, floats it up the sideline. What a catch made by Jamar Chase. What happened? This game just did a 360. This is the Steelers defense I'm used to. Can they make a goal line stop to make it this overtime? They will not. Right up the gut is Zach Moss. The Bengals have a lead. Well, I guess I've seen crazier things this game already. Can the Steelers somehow get a touchdown? Oh my goodness, what a catch. Oh my goodness, he outruns the secondary. The Steelers answered back. What is this game? What is this? I think Madden has started to feel bad for me that I've witnessed so many games in 17 to 14 that they finally gave me the game of the bracket. 35 to 32 the final score. The first game today where both teams scored over 30 points. Isn't that refreshing? A lot of possibilities for player of the game, but I think Najee Harris deserves this. He had 89 yards, 2 touchdowns on 14 carries. Honestly, I think the Steelers are probably the best team right now. They're going to add Jamar Chase at wide receiver number 1. I don't know how we'll be able to top that game, but let's go to the Broncos-Dolphins. And last time these two teams played in real life, the final score was 70 to 20. And just like that, we're back to games with 17 points. This one's tied at 17. Someone please change this. I hate this number now. Bo Nix goes cross his body, out of bounds, 4th and 7. They're going to have to kick a field goal. It's funny to say the Denver Broncos are hosting a game in the Sweet 16, but they should take a 20-17 lead here. Still 4 minutes remaining on the clock. Broncos to the 41-yard line with 3 minutes remaining. Tua, the left-handed quarterback, plenty of time to throw the football on his left side, and someone's wide open. It's Braxton Berrios. That's not right. He tore his ACL. Well, Well, just know if the Dolphins somehow win this game, he will not be able to play the next game because he's not supposed to be in the lineup. Anyways, here's a handoff. No, again, a lot of play action in this playbook for the Dolphins. Tua's going to take off, and it works, and he slides for 6. They're going to run a play before the 2-minute warning. Let's see if it pays off. Back at the end zone, and touchdown to Tyreek Hill. That actually favors the Broncos because it's going to put a lot of times on the clock. The question is, did Tyreek Hill have both feet in bounds? This is close. That's a touchdown. Minute and 20 seconds, 3rd down and 7. Bo Nix will get the first down, and this is going to be across midfield. Timeout call by the Broncos. I believe that is Amari Cooper. Another 3rd down and long. This time it's 10 yards. Blitz incoming for the Miami Dolphins. It doesn't pay out. It's going to be 4th and 10. I feel like they have to go for this. The 14 versus 11 seed. This is technically an upset if they cannot get this first down. Denver, what a pass deflection made right there. But Denver will turn over the ball on downs. So Miami will walk out of Mile High with the victory. We have a 14 seed alongside the Jaguars, the 16 seed in the Elite 8. And player of the game goes to Tyreek Hill, who finished with 101 yards, this touchdown in the back of the end zone, and 9 catches. And the Dolphins already had Jalen Ramsey, but now they'll add Patrick Surtain. Well, one more team the AFC will punch their way to the Elite 8 will be the Colts or the Texans. The AFC has been cooking with their Sweet 16 games. Okay, well, that's an interception thrown by Anthony Richardson, and all the Texans need are points to win the game. Still over a 50-yard kick from this current distance. Handoff going backwards. I guess the Colts ain't dead yet. 3rd down and 6. Never mind, they're dead. CJ Stroud is still passing the football. This better pay off. No, CJ Stroud's intercepted. All you had to do was run the football, and the Colts get it right back. I'll go back to my previous statement. They're not dead yet. We have another 3rd down for the Colts, however. Don't want to get this football right back to the Texans, and they won't. 1st down midfield and to the 37. They're close to field goal range with Alec Pierce. And just like that, the Texans literally threw this game away. They just needed to run the football. CJ Stroud got too cocky, and the Colts will walk out of Houston, moving on to the Elite 8. Yes, he did throw 2 interceptions, but his passing attack is the reason the Colts won this game, making it his 2nd player of the game award. Anthony Richardson with 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then those 2 interceptions. And his passing attack is going to get even better as they're going to add Stephon Diggs. So 4 tickets have been punched to the Elite 8 from the AFC. Who would have saw these teams making it this far? The Jaguars playing the Steelers and the Dolphins playing the Colts. So now it's time to see who makes it from the NFC, starting with a good game, the Lions and Commanders. Well, good to see the 17 curse lives on, but hopefully not for long. Jaden Daniels breaks out of a sack but picks up 3 yards. Now, if they can get this first down, they're still alive for a touchdown, but I imagine they'd kick a field goal unless Jaden Daniels can scramble for it, and he's got it to the 9. What a clutch conversion for the Commanders. Now, before the 2-minute warning, they're going to pass, and Devontae Adams takes it to the 2. I saw dreads, and my head immediately went to Devontae Adams. That is CeeDee Lamb, and now we have a touchdown by Terry McLaurin for the Commanders to take a 2-point lead. And yeah, this is definitely a Dan Campbell decision. They're going to go for it in 4th and 8. They have 3 timeouts. They could have punted the football, and it doesn't work. Jared Goff was in some trouble, got rid of the football to no man's land, and the Commanders take over. So the Commanders add on a field goal and win 27-21. There are no more number 1 seeds. Player of the game goes to Brian Robinson with 86 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and 19 carries. Jaden Daniels has no reason not to be throwing 300 yards and 3 touchdowns a game. This is his 3rd X-Factor receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. And our next matchup, it's an NFC West throwdown with the Rams and Seattle Seahawks. Well, after a holding penalty, it's 1st down and 20 for the Seahawks. They have 2 minutes and 40 seconds just to get on the board with at least a field goal. 2nd and 12 upcoming. We'll see one final play before the 2-minute warning. Empty formation for Geno Smith. He's going to throw it deep down the right sideline and caught. 10-yard line. Tyler Lockett comes down with the football. Now it's 1st down and goal. Now it's 1st down and goal or 2nd and goal at the 1. That benefits the Seahawks more because it wastes time, but now they'll find their way to the end zone with DK Metcalf leading 25-20. They should go for 2. This is crucial for the Rams to get a stop here. It's a handoff to Kenneth Walker. He dives face first for it. 27-20. All the Rams can hope for at this point is overtime for a 3rd down and 5. Matthew Stafford throws an interception. This game is over. Jesse Bates, the new pickup from Atlanta. So Seattle wins 27-20, the 13th seed moving on. So back-to-back running backs will win player of the game. Kenneth Walker with 121 yards, 1 touchdown on 15 attempts. And so A.J. Brown will be getting shipped again. This time he's going to Seattle. And so 2 more spots left in the Elite 8. One of them will be claimed by either the Cardinals or the Packers. Well, to my surprise, it is Call of Duty release date, and Kyler Murray has actually showed up. Josh Jacobs takes a handoff, not picking up anything here. Love will run 1 play before the 2-minute warning. In motion was Romeo Doubs, but catch made by Jaden Reed. No, he drops it last second. That's usually a catch he makes. I'd say this is a big third down for both sides of the ball. Blitz incoming by Arizona. Down goes Love, and they'll be forced to kick a field goal. Actually, a pretty decent kick, probably 45 yards out, but McManus has tied the game at 20. I already know Kyler Murray does not want this game to go to overtime. He's trying to go home and play Black Ops 6. It's a first down from the 31. He actually almost takes a sack. He gets it off, however. Here's another pass by Kyler Murray. No, he's going to run. Oh, he barely breaks out of a sack, and that is huge because it's a first down by Kyler Murray in field goal range. That is a huge difference. If he didn't break that sack, this game would have been going to overtime, but instead, the Cardinals are about to kick a game-winning field goal in Lambeau Field. Green Bay did manage to stop the clock with 35 seconds left, so who knows? They will get the football back. 30 seconds, 0 timeouts for Jordan Love, and he's going to take another sack. Yeah, game over. I cannot believe this bracket so far. The seedings are insane. We have like 11, 13, 16 seeded teams going to the Elite 8. Player of the game goes to Zaven Collins with 9 tackles, 1 for a loss, and 2.5 sacks on Jordan Love. And so Jai Alexander is going to the desert. Well, one final punch card to be made for the Elite 8. Honestly, this one makes the most sense for whoever wins. It's either the Niners or the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, who've managed to get the 2 seed in this bracket, have a chance to ice this game against the Niners. Baker Mayfield is passing the football, and he stops the clock because of it. Interesting decision considering we haven't even hit the 2-minute warning yet. I don't know why we were running a play there in the first place. Now you have to get the first down, which is going to be a drop, and you're giving the ball right back to San Francisco. 1 minute and 20 seconds. There's a catch made. The Deebo Samuel, who outruns the secondary and gets tackled in the end zone. Niners take the lead. I can't believe how bad the Buccaneers have been. Now we're talking. I believe that's Mike Evans off to the races. Is he going to find his way to the end zone? Yes, Tampa Bay takes the lead. One good play turns out for 6 points. It's important to mention that yes, Mike Evans is injured in real life, but he's not an IR, and that's my rule. That's why he's playing today, and that's why he scored a 70-yard touchdown. Niners have already burned all their timeouts, so this is essentially the final play. It has to be in the end zone. 40 yards the distance. That's not close at all. So the Buccaneers will be the final team to clinch their way to the Elite 8, winning 31-27. And player of the game will go to Keenan Allen, which we didn't even see catch a football, but he did catch 10 of them for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's time to bring the boom back to the middle linebacker position in Tampa Bay. Fred Warner will join the Buccaneers. You know, this just might be the weirdest combination of teams possible for the Elite 8. What am I looking at right now? And then we can look back at the player of the game billboard. We have 8 new additions. Actually, one of them is a repeat with Anthony Richardson, but Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Tyreek Hill, you can see him right here. Well, now it's time to see who will join the Final Four, starting with our first matchup, the 5-seed Steelers hosting the 16-seed Jaguars. Here we are in the Elite 8, the 16-seed Jaguars starting for their own 1-yard line. Gotta be careful here. They're gonna escape it, and actually a pretty solid run, too, to the 25-yard line by Tank Bigsby. They still need about 30 more yards, however. This is gonna be around 15 of them to Evan Ingram to the 37 in Pittsburgh territory. I mean, this is over a 50-yard kick from this position. They better get at least 5 yards here. Trevor Lawrence gets rid of the football, and he throws an interception. Patrick Queen is lined up at cornerback this time and seals the deal for the Pittsburgh defense, which means the Steelers will make their way to the Final Four, finally taking down the great Cinderella run of the 16-seed Jaguars. And I think it's safe to say player of the game should go to Patrick Queen, who came up with a game-sealing interception alongside 3 tackles to his name. Well, so much for Najee Harris' starting job. It got replaced by Derrick Henry. And who will join the Steelers in the Final Four? The Dolphins or the Colts? And I guess the Colts just cannot hang with 2 in the Miami Dolphins, as Miami will punch their way to the Final Four to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Player of the game will go to Raheem Mostert with 65 yards and 16 attempts, but a hat trick with 3 touchdowns. So Max Crosby is now a Miami Dolphin. And let's quickly jump over to the NFC side for the number 9 Commanders and number 13 Seahawks. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders have to get a touchdown here in overtime. Diving attempt at the 1-yard line. First down and goal. This should be a quick punch in. No, they're going to pass the football. Jaden Daniels backs up. Now he's going to step up. What? Why didn't he just run that? This should just be a quick punch in with Brian Robinson. Why is he going outside? Take in the middle. They just lost yardage. But quickly, 3rd down and goal. Imagine Seattle makes a goal line stop. Oh, it's going to be 4th down and goal. Can the Commanders tie this game up? 4th down and goal. Jaden Daniels is passing. He takes a sack. The Seattle Seahawks are moving on to the Final Four. And Seattle, the 13th seed, will be moving on, winning 28-21. I think I have to give player of the game to Geno Smith with 218 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So CeeDee Lamb will join A.J. Brown in Seattle. And now our final Elite 8 game, the Buccaneers versus Cardinals, in which I will be quick simming. The Buccaneers are currently up 10 points. Make it 17 points. I think we know who's going to punch the final ticket to the Final Four. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers. And I'll have to give player of the game to Mike Evans with 123 yards, 7 catches, and 1 touchdown. And so now Jair is going to Tampa Bay. Okay, so I haven't showed you the quadrants in quite a minute, but now I can because they're actually finished. The first quadrant in the AFC is done. The Steelers came out on top of it, which in the second quadrant, to my surprise, the 14 seed Miami Dolphins have made it all the way to the final game, and they have won the second quadrant in the AFC. Now the NFC, another surprise, the Seattle Seahawks, the 13 seed, have made it to the end of the quadrant 1. Weirdly enough, this one makes the most sense, but even then, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers finished out on top in the second quadrant in the NFC. And then there were 4. It's the Steelers versus Dolphins and Seahawks versus Buccaneers. I'm not going to show you the player of the game or the MVP race quite this moment. I'll wait until we do all the games first. Let's start with the Steelers versus Dolphins in the AFC semifinals. Another overtime game here in the Final Four. Whoever wins it between the Dolphins and Steelers will be going to the Super Bowl. Dolphins looking to strike first blood, but maybe the Steelers can stop them to a field goal. Patrick Queen could not make the tackle, and in the end zone is Mostert for the Dolphins lead. If Patrick Queen would have made this tackle, would have stopped the Dolphins to a field goal, that could have been a huge difference. Does Russell Wilson have a response for the Steelers? He's in some trouble here. He gets it off, but it's going to be 3rd and 4. Can Dolphins force a stop? Everything is 4th down territory. Russell Wilson has to get rid of this. He loses 15 yards. The 14 seed Miami Dolphins are 1 play away from going to the Super Bowl. Incomplete. George Pickens could not come down with it, and turnover on downs will end this game. Miami wins 21-14 in the AFC semifinal. This is probably the only time I'm giving player of the game to a player on the losing side of the football. TJ Watt had 3 sacks, 7 tackles, 2 of them for a loss. And you know what? TJ Watt will join the Miami Dolphins for their final player steal. Alright, now let's complete the NFC side of the bracket for our awaiting winner of the Seattle Seahawks and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, if Baker Mayfield and the Bucs want to clinch their way to the Super Bowl, they just need a couple first downs. 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. Baker Mayfield's going to pass the football. Risky decision, but it picks up 6 yards. That doesn't really complete their objective, however. They need to run the clock, and the Seahawks are going to call a timeout before the 2-minute warning after this Jesse Bates tackle. The Buccaneers especially have been really bad at time management. They need to get this first down, and they will, which is completed in Seahawks territory, and Seattle calls their final timeout. This goes to Palmer. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to drain out the entire clock. They'll be making their way to the Super Bowl to play the Miami Dolphins just south of them. And player of the game goes to Yaya Diaby, who comes up with 3 sacks and 6 tackles. And the final player still for Tampa Bay will be Jesse Bates. And now the 32-team bracket Super Bowl. It comes down to this: the 14-seed Dolphins and the 2-seed Buccaneers. The Battle of South Florida is up next. Throughout this entire video, it's been a common trend to see overtime games at very low scoring values. It's 10-10 right now. First possession. Tua has run this play a lot today, and it's going to stay in a check down, which picks up 7 yards. There is a lot of great defensive stars on both sides of the football, so I do not blame them for having a low scoring Super Bowl. Another play action pass for Tua. What does he do this time? He's going to step up and run for it. He gets the first down. We're inside the 10. Tua actually hands off the football this time. It pays out pretty solid to the 1-yard line. So can they close out the drive with 6? Handoff again. Stopped? No. Still on his feet. Touchdown. Raheem Mostert makes it 16-10. Will Baker Mayfield survive? They need a touchdown. Here's a response. It's going to be a sack. A loss of 13 yards. How do you recover from that? That just completely tanks their chances in this game. Is Baker Mayfield going to go down again? Yes, he is. Surprisingly, they did not call it a safety. It's at the 1-yard line. I mean, seriously, Mayfield was tackled in the end zone. The refs were generous giving them forward progress. But anyways, it's still a 3rd down and 37. At least he gets the football off this time for a 4th and manageable 21 yards. This could be the final play of the game. Can the Dolphins pull it off? It's intercepted. Jalen Ramsey puts an end to the 32-team bracket, and the Miami Dolphins are the Super Bowl champions. Final score 17-10. The Miami Dolphins somehow get it done. All it took was Tua returning to the lineup. And the Super Bowl player of the game is an interesting one. It's going to David Long Jr. He picked off Baker Mayfield twice this game, and that could definitely be the difference. And so there it is, the complete bracket. Man, was this completely insane, and does this make any sense whatsoever? No. But before I conclude this video, we can take a look at our player of the game accolades for every single game, and we can also reveal who the tournament MVP was. And so here it is, the final player of the game billboard. You can see a bunch of random names on this. Players you've never expected. PJ Locke, Yaya Diaby, even the Super Bowl MVP, whose name is initiated officiated at D. Long Jr. That's an oxymoron. And then, of course, I already said this, but there was only one player on the entire Player of the Game Awards that is a loser. That was TJ Watt in the Final Four game against the Miami Dolphins. Now, time to reveal the top 3 in the tournament MVP race. At number 3, I have Anthony Richardson, who finished with 831 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions on his run today. The runner-up will be Baker Mayfield, who lost in the Super Bowl. He had 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, but where he went wrong was his 7 interceptions. And then, of course, the tournament MVP goes along with the Super Bowl champion is Tua Tagovailoa, throwing for 1,095 yards, 8 touchdowns, but the best part, he did not throw 1 interception this entire video. Well, that concludes the 32-team bracket video. You might see my eyes are super black now because it's like 4 in the morning. I am turning into Dracula at this point. Thank you guys for watching as always, but usually at the end of the video, I always have to apologize for something. I imagine my mic was making really weird buzzing sounds, like if I go... I imagine that's going to pick it up. I apologize in advance if that really annoys you. It annoys me heavily. Maybe it's a sign for me to stop screaming at 2 robots playing Madden so loud. But either way, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.